When our wedding invitations went out, Selena's childhood friend rushed back to the country. He insisted on a pre-wedding test. You, being an orphan, must be after her money 100%. Pass a month-long test if you want our blessings. With Selena's approval, her wealthy friends started playing pranks on me. In weather around -20 or 30 degrees, they dumped a bucket of ice water on me. I got a high fever and seizures. In the middle of the night, a fire broke out, and I almost got my spine crushed. These trust fund kids came up with endless pranks. After all, I am an orphan with no one to back me if something went wrong. Then, the childhood friend stole the medals left by my late parents and grandparents. He arrogantly taunted, "Feel free to try to get it back. Otherwise, my dog's missing a necklace." 2 days before the wedding, I slipped on some cooking oil on the floor while heading downstairs. I fell from the second floor. The pain was unbearable. I gritted my teeth and covered my arm as I struggled to get up. The nearby servants covered their mouths, snickering. Laughing so hard, Peter got him again. He's quite tough, gets messed with this much and won't leave her. Peter's familiar voice chimed in the doorway. It's not every day a sparrow gets a chance to be a phoenix. How could he leave? He was dressed to the nines, chin lifted, contrasting sharply with my current sorry state. The rich kids with him sneered at me. Can't imagine why Selena would pick someone like him over her childhood friend. This orphan can't help the whites with anything. They don't match, so what does Selena see in him? Can't be the bedroom skills, right? Their laughter echoed around me, but I focused on tending to my wounds, tuning them out. The next second, Selena's voice made me pause. "Jimmy, I told you my friends were coming over today. How do you make such a mess? Oils all over the carpet. How can you be a proper son-in-law for the whites like this?" I looked up and met Selena's returning gaze. Only then did she see the injury on my forehead. "Why are you hurt again?" Selena instinctively moved toward me but was pulled back by Peter. "Selena, we agreed this test continues until the day before the wedding." He glanced at me, mocking. "Jimmy, didn't you say you love Selena for her, not for the whites? You must prove to us, her good friends, that we can trust you with her." One of the trust fund kids agreed. "Peter's right. Quitting over a little injury means you're just after Selena's money." Selena hesitated, her uncertainty hitting me like an arrow through the crowd. I initially didn't want to agree to this ridiculous pre-wedding test, but Selena coaxed me softly. "Jimmy, my mother still cares about your background. Once the test ends, I'll tell her everything, and she'll see your dedication to me. She'll accept you. We've been together for years. I thought it was just harmless fun between friends. So I agreed, but I didn't foresee how harsh Peter's tricks would be. I rolled up my sleeves and pants, revealing all the scars. Gently, I explained, "Selena, the injury on my leg happened when Peter took us horse riding. He fed my horse some strong herbs which made me fall off it. Last week, he suggested we go on a cruise vacation. On the yacht, he pretended to accidentally push me into the ocean. The other day, The room fell silent. Selena's face was hard to read. Peter and the others watched me, their arms crossed, sure that I wouldn't cause any trouble. I kept talking until I mentioned the oil on the floor. Exhausted, I said, "Selena, I don't want to accept this test anymore. If you believe in us, let's keep our wedding date. If not, then we should." Before I could finish, Peter suddenly slapped me. He withdrew his hand, challenging, "Wimp," daring to interfere with our years of friendship with Selena. I wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth and looked at Selena beside me. My heart sank again. The Selena who used to fret over a minor cut on my finger for half a day. Now she rubbed her temples, sighing, "Jimmy, as the future son-in-law of the whites, how can you not handle even this small test?" Without any intention of backing me up, she invited the rich kids to a garden party. As she left, she tossed back, "With our different standings, there's a huge gap. Unless you swallow your pride a bit, how can you enter the whites' gates?" Selena's attitude reflected my status before everyone. As an orphan, when she protected me, the rich heirs couldn't say a bad word about me. But now, as she looked down on me, the laughter around me grew even more carefree. I clenched my fists, ready to turn and leave, until I heard someone say, With such an unworthy lineage, Jimmy's ancestors must have been some low lives. That snapped the string in my mind. By the time I came to, my fist had landed on his face. I lost my parents young, growing up through challenges, learning to keep my head down. But my grandfather fought in countless wars, bearing multiple bullet wounds. He was a gallant soldier. My grandmother devoted herself to research, solving many technical problems for the nation. In a lab accident, she entered to protect valuable data and never came out. Both my parents died on duty to bring peace, leaving me at 5 years old. I couldn't tolerate anyone insulting them. After a while, Selena rushed in to separate us. Both of us had marks from the fight. Moving was painful, every breath stabbing my insides. Enough! Selena's voice carried a hint of anger, and the atmosphere became tense. I felt a lump in my throat, tears welling up in my eyes. Selena, he's shown disrespect to my elders. I need him to apologize. I admit, in this vulnerable moment, I hoped powerful Selena would stand up for me. I wanted justice for my elders. But she said, Jimmy, as the future son-in-law of the Whites, how can you act like a lunatic and hit someone? If my mom hears about this, it'll affect how she sees you. Felt like freezing water hitting me in the middle of winter. I stared into Selena's eyes, but the affection I once saw was replaced by indifference. Well, if that's the case, I don't need someone like her. I glanced at Peter and forced a weak smile. You win, the test is off, and so is the wedding. Selena's expression changed, and she grabbed my hand. Jimmy, don't joke about canceling the wedding. Peter and his friends sneered. Jimmy, stop scaring Selena. You have no parents, just some useless medals your grandparents left. Where will you find someone as wealthy and beautiful as Selena? Selena's worried look eased, and she ruffled my hair like usual, smiling. The wedding is the day after tomorrow. Grandma sent a family heirloom as a wedding gift. Go rest upstairs, and when the jade bracelet arrives, put it on. I felt defeated, not in the mood to argue. I shook off Selena's hand and went back to my room. Behind me, I heard Selena's friends saying, don't give him attention. Otherwise, he'll take advantage. Don't let him run away. You're the heiress. I smirked bitterly. Everyone thought I was lucky as an orphan to be with Selena. They didn't think I'd ever leave her, but I called the director. I've made up my mind. I'm ready to take that opportunity abroad. The director was thrilled. Great, Jimmy. You're highly talented in medicine. Your hands are made for surgery. Study abroad well and come back as a top surgeon to save more lives. I didn't have much to pack. I left the wedding ring on the desk. As I headed downstairs, I bumped into the butler. He wore white gloves, his bow respectful, but his expression contemptuous. Jimmy, here's the family heirloom from the old lady. Please check it. I looked at the wooden box, which resembled a raffle box, with a spot to reach inside. It seemed odd. Shouldn't a jade bracelet be in a box? But I didn't think much of it. Return the bracelet to the old lady. The engagement with Selena is off. I moved forward, but bodyguards blocked me. The butler gave a fake smile. Sorry, Jimmy, my job is just to deliver. Please check it and don't make it hard for me. I reluctantly thought I'd return the bracelet to Selena and reached inside. Suddenly, I felt a sharp pain, like needles, and my fingers burned intensely. I yelled and pulled my hand back quickly. The box fell, releasing wasps that buzzed angrily towards my face. I grabbed a cushion to shield myself, but the wasps kept chasing and stinging me. Peter appeared at the doorway, lazily saying, Jimmy, I had someone mix honey into the ointment you used today. My eyes and mouth were swollen and sore. Through blurred vision, I saw Selena rushing over, wrapping my head with a jacket. When I woke up, I was in a hospital owned by WJ Group. Still dazed, I overheard Selena talking with her friends. Selena, you can't blame Peter. Jimmy agreed to the test and the wasps were part of it. I had the doctor add a little something to his medicine to affect his nerves. Combined with the wasp venom, if untreated for half an hour, Jimmy's hands won't be able to perform surgery anymore. Selena, you've always wanted him to be a full-time stay-at-home guy, right? Isn't this what you wanted? My heart sank. I reached for my phone by the bed, and the noise startled them. "Jimmy, you're awake?" Selena's eyes brightened. She walked over quickly and asked softly, "Are you feeling uncomfortable somewhere?" I held her hand tightly, like it was a lifeline. "Selena, I heard everything. I beg you, please call the doctor. I can't lose my hand. Okay?" She knew how much effort I put into medicine and that my dream was always to save lives. But when she met my pleading eyes, Selena stayed silent. My heart turned cold. She patted my hand and looked away. "Jimmy, you misunderstood. Your hand is fine, you don't need surgery." Anger and the fear of not being able to hold a scalpel again mixed inside me. For the first time, I felt the courage to resist my family. I struggled to get out of bed and reach for my phone. "This is WJ Group's turf. I need to call the police and get transferred." Peter stepped on my hand. I screamed in pain. Selena smirked coldly. "An orphan trying to seek help?" But in C-City, no one dares to challenge our families. All my grievances came pouring out. I couldn't help but shout, "Why? Why are you doing this to me?" I've said it many times. I love Selena for who she is, and you forced me to take these tests. I said I don't want tests or a wedding anymore. Why are you ruining my hand? My voice broke, tears streaming down my cheeks like rivers. Selena said coldly, "Jimmy, you just can't operate anymore. Why not enjoy a comfortable life as the White's house husband?" She stood up and walked towards the door, instructing the guard, "Make sure Jimmy doesn't leave." She really intended to destroy my hand. My hope faded like dying light. I couldn't tell if the poison or the heartbreak was worse. What was more ridiculous was hearing Selena's friend urging her to leave me for Peter. Selena's reply was firm. "Even though Jimmy's status doesn't match mine, even though my mom can't accept him, I'll only marry Jimmy. I believe Jimmy loves me just like I love him. Forever." "No, Selena, I will never love you again." The swelling pain in my hand wouldn't go away, and within minutes, I was soaked in cold sweat from the agony. In unbearable pain, I crawled over and picked up my phone, opening the album. A photo of an old, yellowed address book appeared. I remembered my grandfather's words. "Jimmy, I'm getting old, and I may not be around when you grow up." The people in this address book were my comrades. I saved them, and if you ever face difficulties once I'm gone, they'll help you. They'll protect you. I knew that any one of them could overpower elite families. One of them was Jack. When I was young, we lived through poverty. Grandpa never sought their help. He didn't want favors in return for his past deeds. I couldn't tarnish Grandpa's name. Trembling, I placed my phone back, letting the pain consume me. In the end, I didn't call that number. By the time I was brought back to the Whites, it was already dusk. The doctor regretfully informed me, "Your hand can still function for daily tasks, but you won't be able to perform surgery. It's such a pity. I've seen your surgery videos. Your heart stent procedures are top-notch in the country." I thought about reporting Peter and the others for intentional harm. But common folks versus wealthy families, it's really tough to seek justice. I just wanted to leave, find a place far away from these people I couldn't confront. As soon as I stepped into the bedroom, someone hit me and knocked me out. Before I passed out, Peter forced my hand onto a document. When I woke up, my luggage was gone. Quickly opened my phone. There was just an address. "If you want those damn medals back, come over." These medals were exchanged for my parents' and grandparents' lives. I had to get them back, but I'm poor and alone. How can I fight against the rich? After a moment, I closed my eyes and dialed that number for the first time. I rushed to the auction and saw the scene. Blood rushed to my head. The 39 legacy medals left by my parents and grandparents, medals I carefully polished every day, were hanging around the necks of 39 dogs. My fists clenched, cracking with anger. I wanted to punch Peter's face. "Peter, these are my things." "Oh?" He raised an eyebrow, unfolding a paper. "But here's black and white proof that you gave them to me for free." My chest heaved. This guy was really despicable. He arrogantly declared, "If you've got the guts, just auction them back as a last pre-marriage test." Others watched our tension, and before Selena spoke, no one dared to pick a side. But Selena casually waved her hand. "Hey, they're just some broken medals. If anyone wants them, feel free to bid. Now everyone understood his meaning. I recently got a pet pig. Maybe I'll bid for one as a toy. I don't have pets, but I could bid and use it as a coffee table coaster. Earlier, I heard Peter say Jimmy's parents were thugs who died in a fight, his granddad went to jail, and his grandma stole. How could they have medals? No doubt they were bought to brag. I even heard a version saying Jimmy's whole family was out selling themselves. I bit my lip hard, fury nearly bursting out. Peter chuckled, Jimmy, I know you're super broke. How about this? For every bow you do to the crowd, I'll light one sky lantern for you. Okay? Or he gleamed wickedly, don't want to bow? Take off some clothes instead. Take one off and I'll light a lantern each time. Without waiting, Peter blew a whistle. A bodyguard took a medal off a dog's neck and just tossed it on the ground. The dog wagged its tail, lifted its leg, and peed right on the medal. Peter sneered. This is what happens to those medals. No. I stared, eyes nearly bursting, at Selina, sitting with an indifferent look, even a hint of a smile. Hate surged to its peak. Peter's eyes were filled with venom. Quicker. Choose. Bow or strip. My eyes burned red. They took things too far. We ordinary folks, without power or influence, couldn't even guard our parents' and grandparents' heirlooms. As Peter was about to whistle again, my nails dug into my palms. My parents always taught me to have backbone, but I couldn't stand by and watch those medals, representing their honor and lives, get stomped on. Tears rolled down, and I bowed slightly in humiliation. Just then, a stern voice rang out. Don't kneel. Let's see today who dares disrespect those medals. Who dares disrespect heroes? Everyone looked towards the entrance. That one look, and everyone's face changed, all standing up one after another. I turned around, stunned. At the entrance was an elder in a suit. Tears welled up instantly. It was Granddad's comrade, Jack. He actually came. Someone shouted, It's Jack. Behind him were several political figures I'd seen on TV. They followed Jack with utmost respect. Jack, with white hair, leaned on a cane but was full of energy, eyes sharp. His gaze swept over, making everyone lower their heads. He tapped his cane on the ground, voice loud. Do you know how these medals came to be? The first medal in 1931, back then. The second medal in 1950, that time. Jack recounted the origins of the 39 medals, recalling the past, tears flowing down his old cheeks. Jimmy's parents and grandparents are all heroes who've defended our country. But what about you? What have you done? His hands shook with anger. You've been enjoying the peace and stability those brave souls brought. Yet you use your family's power to bully the child of a fallen hero. Great. Just great. Peter and his group stood there, trembling, unable to say a word. The scornful looks from the other rich families faded away. Some showed guilt, apologizing to Jimmy. We're really sorry. We shouldn't have mocked you or looked down on you. I pressed my lips together, holding back tears. A middle-aged woman standing next to Jack was rapidly tapping on her tablet. Jack, I've looked into it. The ones who disrespected Jimmy in the security footage are from the Whites, the Johnsons, and the Millers. Peter panicked and looked to Selina for help. Selina, say something for us. Doesn't Jimmy listen to you the most? The group of friends was anxious, with sweat beading on their foreheads, crowding around Selina. Yeah, Selina, we were just testing if Jimmy truly loves you. If only you had told us about his background, we would have never messed with him. Exactly, our parents respect fallen heroes the most. They went through that era too. We wouldn't dare touch a hero's orphan if we knew. Selina's face was thoughtful, and her lips parted to speak. Jimmy, you never told me about your family. But then she seemed to realize something and said, excitedly, my grandpa's a retired veteran who respects heroes. With your status, my dad won't oppose us anymore. Our wedding in 2 days can finally get everyone's blessing. I looked at her coldly. Jack frowned and turned to me, asking gently, is this young lady who was watching you get bullied your fiancé? I realized this was my chance to break away from Selina, so I nodded to Jack. Yes, Jack, but I've already told her we're calling off the engagement. She might not agree. Selena's smile froze, and her face went pale for a second. Jimmy, what do you mean by that? Didn't I tell you not to joke about calling off the engagement? My expression turned serious. Selena, we've been together for 7 years, and I've never joked about breaking up. Calling off the engagement was a well-thought-out decision. As she realized I was serious, Selena stumbled, her eyes reddening. Jimmy, after all these 7 years of love, how could you be so heartless? Selena murmured, No, I won't agree to cancel the engagement. Jimmy, I only love you, and I'll only marry you. Her eyes turned fierce. You can't leave me. My heart clenched. Hearing this, Jack patted my shoulder. Don't be afraid, good kid. Your grandfather and I go way back. He saved me 3 times on the battlefield. After the victory, we went our separate ways and lost touch. I only found out today you're his grandson. No wonder I've been unable to find him all these years. His grandson is like my own, rest assured. With me here, the whites won't dare to lay a finger on you. I nodded gratefully, thank you, Jack. Jack turned to Selena, his tone changing abruptly. The whites girl, not only did you let your fiancé get bullied, now you want to pull some power game on him. He took out his phone and dialed a video call. Seems your granddad spoiled you too much. I'll have a word with him about your upbringing. A ringing sound came from nearby, followed by an elderly voice full of guilt. Jack, it's my fault for not teaching her well. Selena looked over and was shocked to see her grandfather and exclaimed, Grandpa, what are you doing here? Her gaze shifted, and she saw more familiar faces. Dad, you too? Not just Selena's grandfather and father showed up. Many parents from the elite families were here. The younger generation quickly ran to their elders. Voices filled the auction hall. Grandpa, aren't you supposed to be at the board meeting? Mom, weren't you dealing with an acquisition? Uncle, what do you mean my dad's still abroad, so you came to handle this? The scene was chaotic. Those respected elite figures all swiftly gathered around Jack, greeting him politely. This made the younger ones even more fearful, shrinking back like whipped puppies. Selena's grandfather repeatedly apologized to Jack. Sorry, Jack. I didn't expect a simple auction to bring you here. It's my lack of discipline. Jack huffed. No apologies to me are needed. You all should be apologizing to Sam's grandson. Jack scanned the room, his gaze calm but commanding, and everyone stiffened. I looked down, my thoughts swirling. So this is how simple it is to make powerful elites bow down. So, this is what it feels like to have someone backing you up. Jack spoke up, and even though Alex felt bad for Selena, he couldn't cover for her. Neil. Selena was fearless in Sea City, but her grandpa was the only one she was afraid of. Without hesitating, she dropped to her knees. Grandpa, she said. Alex shook his head, unable to hide his disappointment. Selena, how could you do something so low? Her childhood friend urged her to test the person she was going to spend her life with, leaving him scarred. To keep him home, she made it so he could never use a scalpel again. She even conspired with outsiders to steal his medal and forced him to kneel. And you still expect him to forgive and marry you? At this point, Alex was beyond angry. He took a whip from his assistant. I'll handle this myself today. I'll teach you a lesson. With a crack of the whip, Selena's shirt immediately stained with blood. She gritted her teeth, looking like she could faint any time. Selena's dad watched with pain in his eyes but didn't dare plead for her. The second-generation kids around, dealing with their elders, were also battered and bruised. Alex returned the whip to the tray and came over to me. Jimmy, I heard everything that happened on the way here. It's all because we, the whites, didn't discipline properly. Relax, the whites will do everything to treat your hand. Also, your engagement to Selena is off. I promise she won't bother you again. Selena abruptly looked up. No, Grandma, I can't be without Jimmy. I don't agree to cancel the engagement. At the same time, Peter's face lit up with joy. But Alex's next words wiped that smile off. Furthermore, we, the whites, will sever all ties with the Johnsons. The two families were business partners, entangled in many interests. Peter's dad was stunned, then furious. He kicked Peter hard in the chest. You ingrate. You caused such trouble right after coming back. You might as well have stayed abroad. From today, all your cards are frozen. Tomorrow, I'll arrange a marriage for you." Peter got up and, without thinking, kneeled, begging his father for mercy. "Dad, please don't stop my cards or force me to marry. I know I'm wrong." His father kicked him aside. "Get lost. You're a disgrace." I looked around. The bolder Selena's childhood friends once were, the more pitiful they looked now. Their elders gathered around me, smiling obsequiously. "Jimmy, I've disciplined the unruly child at home. Is that enough for you? If you still have any grievances, just say the word. I'll deal with it until you're satisfied. These kids have been spoiled senseless. I'll ground him so he can reflect properly." I knew it was out of respect for Jack that they were so humble. Acknowledging this, I replied, "Thank you all for standing up for me. Let's let this matter be now." Everyone's faces relaxed, sighing in relief. Jack's assistant returned my medal, and I thanked them earnestly. "Grandpa, thank you for today. If Jack hadn't come, I might have returned home injured again." Jack said warmly, "My child, I want to take you as my grandson. Would you agree?" The room fell silent. With Jack's status, who wouldn't want to connect with him? The second-generation kids looked on with envy, Peter's eyes red with jealousy. I nodded and replied I would like that. Jack laughed heartily. "Good. I'll arrange a day to make it official. From now on, Jimmy is my grandson. Anyone who dares mess with him is challenging us. Jack, rest assured, we wouldn't dare offend Jimmy. When we get back, I'll instruct everyone to treat Jimmy with utmost respect in the future." Selena's father chimed in respectfully, "Jimmy, I apologize for overlooking you in the past." I recalled the first time I visited the Whites with Selena. Her father sat on a plush leather sofa, sipping tea without even looking up. "This fine tea requires a fine cup," he said. "Don't you think, Jimmy?" It was subtle yet pointed. Later, Selena fought with her dad for me, threatening to give up being the heir. Selena's mom called me to their home, dropping her elegant facade, slapping me harshly. "An orphan, looking to marry into the Whites? As long as I'm alive, you'll never be accepted." Back then, I thought I'd never change Selena's mom's view, contemplating leaving. But seeing Selena, the pampered lady living in a tiny rental, working long hours, saving just to buy me a bracelet, I swallowed back the words, "Let's break up." When Selena said this was a test for her mom's approval, I endured it all. But in the end, it led to this. Now, because of Jack, Selena's father treaded carefully, terrified of crossing me. I chuckled softly. As Jack and I left, I glanced at Selena. Her eyes were filled with desperation and unwillingness, the pain so palpable it seemed endless. I silently said goodbye. "Selena, goodbye." After they officially adopted me, they sent me abroad for treatment and further studies. With the support of their family, I got access to resources I never even dreamed of before. I worked super hard and finished in 1 year what normally takes 3 or 4 years for others. During this time, Selena tried to sneak abroad several times, but her grandpa always caught and stopped her. The worst time, she got beat so bad she couldn't get out of bed for a month. Jack's grandson, who's now my brother Philip, sent me a video saying, "Look, does this make you feel better?" The video showed Selena with her feet chained, surrounded by empty beer bottles. Her eyes were hollow, like a dead lake. She looked incredibly worn out, with stubble on her face, oozing with decay. Serves her right for bullying you. I even snatched a few projects from her to teach her a lesson. I chuckled, feeling warmth in my heart. Philip, all excited, sent another video, and that Peter, guess what? It was a wedding video. Peter, looking miserable, was holding the arm of a woman in her 40s or 50s. If you looked closely, he had a bruise on his cheek. With Peter's family background and looks, he could have married someone way better, but after his dad found out he messed with us, he specifically picked the worst match for him. "Bro, you focus on your studies there. I promise, everyone who ever bullied you isn't getting away." I typed and deleted and typed, but finally just sent back okay. Because Philip once said, "We're family, no need to be formal." 6 months later, I finished my studies and returned home. I turned down offers from top medical institutions abroad and went back to my old hospital to be a doctor. They threw a grand welcome party for me. Mid-party, I stepped outside for some air. There, in the distance, was a familiar figure, Selena. She stared at me, her voice shaky. "Jimmy, I begged Grandpa for a long time, and he finally let me come. How have you been?" I could see the longing and deep emotion in her eyes. That trace of pain just like my own in the past. I remembered the times back then. In the small rental room, Selena rested on the sofa, dark circles under her eyes from staying up all night nursing me through a fever until she felt safe that I was better. I joked once about wanting a paradise, and she went and bought an island, planting the first tree herself. In the lavender fields of Provence, Selena, with teary eyes, knelt and proposed, "Jimmy, if I can't spend the rest of my life with you, it's meaningless." Maybe she really did love me once. But now it doesn't matter. I smiled. "I'm doing well." Seeing my relieved smile, Selena's eyes lit up. "Jimmy, does this mean you forgive me?" Suddenly, her steps halted. "What are you doing here?" Behind me, Annie gently linked her arm with mine, clearly possessive. "Jimmy, is this the blind ex-girlfriend?" I gave a slight nod. Annie reached out her hand. "Hi, ex-girlfriend. I'm the fiancé. Nice to meet you." "Oh no, wait, you really can't teach me anything. Can you? After all, I won't be so stupid to lose my fiancé over a childhood friend." I grinned as she smirked. We met at a family gathering and clicked instantly. She's snarky to everyone but me. I waved. "Selena, we're going back inside. Catch you later." The night was perfect. Annie whispered in my ear, "She's practically glued to you with her eyes. Don't you dare meet her in secret. You know what happens if I get jealous." I quickly promised I won't meet her, definitely not. Selena watched intently as we walked away. She saw Jimmy say something, and Annie playfully tapped his nose. Annie then jumped onto Jimmy's back, joyfully kicking her legs. It was just like some afternoon in summer or winter when she asked him to carry her. Memories she dwelled on repeatedly. A long moment later, she crouched down, covering her eyes with her hands. Sobs escaped, as if something deep inside had shattered completely, silently.